In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, God is one. Amen. Christ is risen. It's a mixed sort of day today. Yesterday was cold and miserable and vile. But today, although there's quite a lot of cloud and a lot of wind, and it's been very cold, it doesn't feel vile. It's rather magnificent in a way. The patches of sunlight I can see traversing across the hills, and I can see a long way into the distance towards Derby over there. He is risen indeed, Anthony. I hope things are well with you. God bless you. Other big news? No great news, really. Things carry on as they do. The apple blossom is still out, and although it was very cold last night, and good morning, Andrew. God bless you. And there was ice on the pond. The apple blossom seems to have survived. So you never know. We might just get an apple or two this year. Last year we had from quite a number of trees, one apple. Yeah, the horse ate it. A visitor came, picked it and gave it to the horse. So he didn't even try it. Didn't even know what it was like. So with any luck, there'll be a few apples this year. There were quite a lot the year before, but we were around just a little bit too late. Good morning, Malenga. Christ is risen. Good morning, Alan. Christ is risen. Yeah, cool, bright sunshine, very blowy. All those people wondering whether or not they're meant to be going to work today, they won't know, will they? Shall they stay or shall they go? Is it better to stay in and risk getting ticked off, or is it better to go out to work and get cold and bugs? Maria Helena, good morning to everybody. Christos Alithos and Esti. Sissy is risen indeed. Phoebe, Christ is risen. Morning, Phoebe. I was thinking about you during the liturgy today, and I can't remember now why. But God bless you anyway. So, because I was thinking of you, I was obviously praying for you as well. I think it was because of the candles. Yes, it was because of the candles, because you also make candles, don't you? And I was looking at the one that we had made, and it reminded me of you. So God bless you. Whoever Time Man is, good morning. God bless you. Dijon and Natalia and Amelia, good morning. Christ is risen. And Vicky, Christ is risen. He's risen indeed. So there we are. We'll have to cope with that. I can look out of here, and there's nothing like looking at other people working for inspiring you, is there? Maybe to sit back and watch them work some more. But out of this window, on this side here, I can see Brother Daniel and Brother Joseph. They both have orange buckets you can buy from B&Q for £1 each. They both have a fork, and they're busy digging over a patch of ground that's going to become our fruit area. The dogs are running around and trying to persuade them to throw sticks at them. Neither of them are succumbing to that, though. There's some very big rocks, and I really mean big rocks, in that patch of ground. It's the waste soil that came out of our, one of my favorite things, out of our sewage works. And it was all piled up there and then flattened. And we were going to put the polytunnel on it, but we put the polytunnel out further away. And on this area here, after it's been dug and then lots of good compost dug into it and decent soil, it'll make a very good fruiting area, I think. Martha, good morning. Christ is risen. Today, what we're going to do is we're going to look at Mark chapter 1, verses 25, possibly as far as 28. We'll see how far we get. Andrew, Christos, and Elithos, and Esti, Declan, he's risen indeed. And to see how far we get. There's lots here. Now, last time, which was on Friday, you'll remember that we had this clash. We have the evil demon. The evil demon is inside the man, the unclean spirit, and the Lord is there. And there can be no compromise between the Lord and evil. God and evil cannot mix. Christ is risen, Deacon Pantaleimon, your prayers. Christ and the demon cannot mix. Christ and evil, God and evil cannot mix. They are immiscible, like oil and water. And in this case, obviously, always it's the nature of God to drive out evil. Evil disappears before him. And in that last verse, this is where you have the choice. And from now onwards, it's a choice between following Christ or remaining with your demon. And hopefully, obviously, we follow Christ. Then in verse 25, we get the Lord beginning to act. He's taught, he's gathered himself some disciples, and now he's beginning to act. I'll just read that verse to you, and then we'll have another look at it. But Jesus rebuked him, that's the demon, saying, "Be quiet and come out of him." Now, the first part there, that idea of rebuking, the Greek word that's used has a stem that is to do with honor. And the word rebuke there is to give due honor to. Now, obviously, to a demon, there is no honor due to a demon. And the Lord gives the demon the due honor. And that's why it's translated as rebuke or censured him. But actually, it's to do with giving something due honor. So you can see here that the Lord is judging. He's giving due honor to that demon. And he will give due honor to you as well. So censure, rebuking, due honor, it's got that same feeling within it. Alithos anestitonimu. That's quite important. In fact, it's very important. The next thing to notice is that if you're giving due honor to somebody, you're not shouting and raving. So when you see in films or on the YouTube, somebody either pretending to, well, they're always pretending to do an exorcism, and they're shouting and they're raving, they are not in fact doing an exorcism. They're simply shouting and raving. And the reason for that we'll come on to in a moment, very quickly in a moment. The Lord rebuked him, saying, "Be quiet." Now, those words there, "be quiet," it comes from a Greek meaning to put a muzzle on somebody, to muzzle that thing. So the Lord is saying to the demon, "Shut up, be quiet, stop your shouting," and then come out of him. So there's silence. I rebuke you. Shut up. Come out of him. And then all hell breaks loose. Quite literally, in this case. You have heaven, which is calm and collected and ordered. And you have hell, which is what happens next. And when the unclean spirit had convulsed him and cried out with a loud voice, he came out of him. Bit by bit, the unclean spirit, the evil spirit, convulsed him. Now, the Greek word there can mean mangled. You know, if you see some corpse on the road of a rabbit or something, and 20 cars have gone over it and it's been utterly mangled, it's that idea. The poor man is mangled by the unclean spirit, and cried out with a loud voice. The way that it sounds when you read it in Greek is the man is screaming out. It's not just, ooh, it's a huge scream, crying out with a loud voice, and mangled. And here we begin to see what hell does. It moves from order to chaos. In the very first verses of the Bible, you see that things move from chaos to order. And in the book of Revelation, it's so ordered that the New Jerusalem that comes out of heaven onto earth, which is an interesting idea, therefore whereabouts is heaven, The New Jerusalem comes out of heaven and onto earth, whereabouts we end up, is a perfect cube, absolutely ordered. There's nothing disordered about it at all. But in this case here, the unclean spirit causes the man to scream, mangles him, and he comes out. It comes out of him. So it's not a huge, spectacular magic show where the Lord is waving his arms around, where he's shouting and screaming at the demon, where there are lots of ploys made to make it seem like a big event. The Lord says, shut up, come out of him. And then there's a noise, and then there's silence, as the demon is now gone. And the man who has been disordered, whose life is in chaos, who has had this unclean thing inside him, is now ordered. He is now back to himself. He is now not mangled, and he won't be mangled anymore. And then everybody is standing around. And maybe what we'll do is we'll look at them tomorrow, because we've been going on now for enough time. It's maybe 10 minutes to 10, and we've gone on beyond that. But I want you to pay real strong attention today about this idea of going from chaos to order when you come across Christ. And what the devil does is he moves things from order to chaos. And that might give you some sort of feeling. So, yeah, absolutely, Tony. Come and do the cobbling. It's chaotic at the moment. It needs you to put it into order. We've got some cobbling to do. We've got some cobbles. We just don't need him to get on with it. Therefore, if you go to a church service and it's all chaotic and people are running around doing peculiar things and thrashing themselves around on the floor and fainting and doing extraordinary behavior, I'm afraid we can pretty well guarantee that actually they're not worshipping God at all. Quite right, Andrew. The deep peace of God. And Natalia, it is true that our human ideas of order are imperfect. That is true. But it is also true that we can see chaos when we can see it. We recognize it. And we recognize the chaos within ourselves. We can recognize when our own bodies are not functioning correctly and our minds are chaotic. And we can see around us when the world suddenly becomes chaotic, as it's become. Actually, probably as it was before this virus. In many ways, we're much less chaotic now than we were before. And if you've got time to sit and to think and work out what is really important in life, there have been some beautiful things on the radio just recently, a few minutes to 9 every morning, where people are talking about the effect that this virus has had on them. It's brought them to their senses. They suddenly realized, well, what is actually important? And George Alagaya this morning was saying, going out on a Thursday and clapping for the National Health Service and the people working within that and other people who are essential workers, but actually he's noticing his neighbors more. And what was more important to him was the fact that he had missed his granddaughter's first steps. That is truly sad, truly sad. But it is wonderful also that people begin to notice what's really important. Yes, Patrick, that's quite right. Chaos in worship is not reverence. To pay God reverence actually stills everything. There might be movement, there might be music, there might be words, but behind all of that, there's a stillness and a silence. Each morning I get up, and for the next 2.5 hours or so, sometimes 3.5 hours, if we're also serving the liturgy, there's a lot of music, a lot of noise, a lot of movement, but actually this helps us to be very still. has to settle the mind and the body so that we are transfigured. Okay, well, I said 5 minutes ago we're going to stop and carried on for another 5 minutes. I'm going to join my brothers down there doing some digging, but I might just be tempted to finish off my cup of tea first. I won't. God bless you. Your prayers tomorrow. We will carry on and see what the bystanders thought of that. God bless you. Your prayers. Bye-bye.